Hello, hello. All right. What up? You ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I am good.
So we'll go Valorant, then COD stuff, then e-news. Welcome to episode 242 of the Center Ring. This is going to be the best episode ever because Valorant is deciding to leave the nest. It is going out of beta, so we'll talk about whether or not it should and what we can expect with the full release coming up on June 2nd. We also have a little bit of COD drama. We have the ugly head of Gentleman's Agreement is back up in topic. Can't go a season without it. And Censor is being censored. Of course, we'll finish the show with some e-news. But before we get to any of that, the Center Ring Esports podcast is presented by Alt. Alt is our good friends who make the best esports clothing apparel. You can actually get your very own TCR 101 burglars. altesports.com. You can pick that up. They have recently, I believe actually it was still available. I'm going to their website right now. It's so easy. You can do it while talking on a podcast. altesports.com. Look at that. If you're in Florida Mutineer fans, pick yourself up an exclusive limited edition Fear the Deep tee based off of Jaws. Looks badass. Dallas Empire fans, you still got some Router tees, and Chicago Huntsman, the GOAT tee. I'm sure that will not be the last special editions that they have. So be sure, if you're not one of those fans, don't worry. There's plenty that you can get at Alt. CLG fans, they got CLG stuff. E-United fans. And you know what? If you're just a fan of looking damn good, well, you're in luck because that's what they specialize in. So go to altesports.com, tell them TCR sent you, and maybe you'll get a high five. I don't know. I'm not the CEO. I don't tell them how to run their company. altesports.com.
Hey, this is Typix. You're listening to Center Ring.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of The Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. This is episode 242, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, May 27th, 2020. The time, 9 p.m. Central Time. We are, I don't even know, lost track of time with quarantine, like 3 months in. It's hurting me right now. We'll get to that in a moment. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. If you're not doing so already, subscribe to us, youtube.com/The Center Ring. We have some cool stuff coming out there, so you don't want to miss that. And, of course, our Discord, which can be found on our website, tcr.gg. Hello, my name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports, but alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up, buddy?
Tim, it's like we had some groundbreaking news there with our liner. Notice how Zipnix didn't say this is Zipnix with Astralis.
If only we...
I'm just saying.
Maybe it was a hint 3 years down the road.
We knew.
Or however long ago that was.
Look, that shows you that we have tight lips, guys. Okay? You can put your trust in us. If you tell us not to leak something, we're not going to leak it. And there you go.
Zipnix
2017, you heard it first.
It was at ECS 2 years ago. He looked us dead in the eyes and said, I swear to God, if we ever go to a 7-man roster, I'm out. I'm out. And sure enough, look what happened. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that? Yeah, no. It's now it's just another wasted liner from a non-pro player, I guess.
It's actually perfect because with no team name, doesn't matter where he ends up.
That's true. That's true. Man. So no, as I was saying in the intro, Anuj, it's weird that it's taken like 3 months of quarantine to finally get me in quarantine bum out, but I'm bummed out.
Breaking you down?
Yeah, I think it's just because last weekend was supposed to be DreamHack. Like this was like the first time that it kind of affected me. So
It's the first time it affected you in 3 months of staying at home.
like me personally, I've been kind of living it up. No, it's just I tell people they're like, "So how's quarantine?" I'm like, "Bro, I don't know. I have like an 8-month-old son. Like, doesn't really matter. Like he does not care about coronavirus. Like my life hasn't changed a whole lot apart from working from home, but I miss. Well, I also just miss not only sports, but I miss going to events. Like we recently got the news that BlizzCon is officially canceled. So just when you think, oh, every event has been canceled so far, what possibly could happen now? Blizzard is like, hold up, guys. We still had last hope here. And now BlizzCon's not happening. And it's just
They should
like,
go online with it, to be honest with you.
well, they will. They did say early next year, though. So it's not like it is their backup plan to do an online BlizzCon, but I heard not until like early next year.
It's because Diablo 4 is still in pre-alpha testing. It won't come out until 2022.
Diablo Immortal is
Eating up our...
How can that not be out yet? I was thinking about that the other day. Like we played it at BlizzCon last year and it felt fine. It actually felt pretty good. Are they just still so afraid of like the reception that it got that they're just not wanting to talk about it at all?
Like you're going to release a game with only 3 playable characters, that's a problem.
Like
I think that's an issue. Kind of like what we're going to discuss in Valorant today, about going live. Like maybe there is a couple of issues looming.
Man, yeah. So it's just kind of bumming me out. I'm ready to get back to normal esports. You know me, I'm not some anti-onliner. I'm okay with online events, but I do miss.
I miss traditional sports at this point. That's what I miss. Like esports, I'm still getting my fix in. I mean, there's events that we're not attending that suck that we're having to miss out on those. But it's like the lack of my football, basketball, like just really basketball more than anything for me right now. This is like prime time. You know, we should be getting ready for the finals right now.
Yeah, that's how I feel about hockey. It's just like,
yeah, it just sucks having to miss out on like a full season of sports.
And I don't, like I said, I don't know why it took 3 months for it to hit me, but it's like this weekend I had some time off because it was supposed to be DreamHack. Never recalled the days, and I was like, damn.
Can I be honest with you, Tim? I'm a little bit ready for. I need this to be extended about 6 more weeks. We're in like final countdown of baby watch over here in the Bajaj household, and I do not want to have to go in
for like
a
week
before and then have to use like a couple weeks of PTO. So if this could really just hang on for a few more weeks, I'll be okay with that. So I want everybody, I want you all to go out. I want you to shake hands, kiss babies, give hugs, do what you need to do.
Don't wear masks.
But let's spread it just a little bit longer.
Let's spread it responsibly.
Yeah.
Don't go to old people. Go hang out with your younger friends.
Go to the lake.
Yeah, just go wherever young people are.
Yeah. Stay away from nursing homes.
Yeah, don't go to nursing homes. Don't go to any high impact areas. Just spread it responsibly. Let's be adults about this, okay? We don't want anyone hurt. We just want Anuj to extend his time off from going into work. So
thank you. That's it.
Let's be responsible. Let's be responsible. And speaking of being responsible, Anuj, Riot has made the announcement, shockingly, just last week, that Valorant is leaving closed beta, skipping open beta entirely, and going live June 2nd, which at this point is in like a couple of weeks. Next week.
Is
next
it June 2nd or June 8th? It's June 2nd?
I don't know. Fact check me on that.
We're both
June 2nd. Released on June 2nd.
Okay. Right around the corner. So we're going to be without the ability to play the game for about 5-6 days here.
Yeah. I don't know about you. I was stunned. Like when they were making their announcement a week or so ago, they teased like, hey, we have a big announcement coming up, blah, blah, blah. I just thought it was going to be maybe a new operator, a new map. Maybe, hey, we're going into open beta. So if you haven't gotten into the closed beta, like, don't worry. That's what I was expecting. But then when they announced release, like going live June 2nd, I was like, whoa, this is way ahead of schedule from what I thought. Like I think everyone we were ready for the long haul of a beta.
Which if you haven't got into the closed beta yet, God bless you. Like I do not know.
Shout out Prong Attack, our listener who, Prong, if you're listening, buddy, if you need someone to talk to, Anuj and I are here for you. One of our
100%.
listeners informed us that he is still not gotten into the beta, and he's checked. He checked it last time we were talking to him. He has his account linked. Everything is correct on it. He has watched the streams. He just hasn't gotten in yet. He has to be like 1% of the people that haven't gotten into the closed beta.
It makes me feel guilty thinking that I got in before closed beta even came out. Like it was in that 2 or 3 day or 1 day window that they did. Like, hey, you could get it before. And I'm like, okay, by this point, everybody has it, right? No, there's still a group out there that is probably really excited to hear this news.
Yeah, they're ready for it. They're ready. But I think for those who have played it, it's kind of like, all right, so you have 3 maps, a handful of operators, which I guess I'm okay with the number of operators, but do you feel like this is too soon, or do you feel like, hey, it's Riot, it's a free-to-play game, just set this out there, and then they can work on it while everyone's playing it?
So if we're going to do this like a pros, cons type thing, to me, the release date is a big con. I do not believe the game is ready to be released. It's in a very playable state. So when I say it's not, ready to be released, there's just several bugs that are still coming up. Even if it's agent bugs, right? Like odd boost angles, you still see them with Omen and all that taking place. Cypher's cameras is a great example. People are still finding ways to be very gimmicky with that and put them in pretty clever hiding spots that you think in a esports level would not be allowed or should be hot fixed. I just think the game needs to be not only just polished around the edges, Tim. I think it lacks content right now, and I say that because I don't think 3 maps is enough. I don't think 4 maps is enough. So there's going to be a group of people out there being like, news, there's a 4th map coming out. Did you not see the picture of it? I did. But that's not enough. Like, it's just not enough to keep me entertained. And I'll tell you why I feel that way is because I feel that way already. Like, I'm already in that mode now where my playtime has gone down significantly. Part of that is knowing that, hey, my rank's not going to carry over. Like, this doesn't really matter. Like, I'll play when it really comes out. But if it's a game I feel like I'm truly in love with, think of games like Counter-Strike. Think of games like World of Warcraft. Games that we've continuously gone back to throughout a 10-year period. Initially, when I left those games, it wasn't for a lack of content. It was the fact that I got burnt out, right? I overplayed the game. I played so much over a period of so many years that it was just like, okay, I need a break. But I know I'm going to go back. I know I'll also go back to Valorant. But to be burnt out during the closed beta, I truly believe that happened because of just a lack of content, right? I want to see more agents, but you're right. Like the agent list that they have now, okay, acceptable.
There's
it's fine. Like
terrible about it.
It's not bad. To me, the map pool is like the biggest concern right now. I think playing 3 maps, even 4 maps, over and over and over again. You think of some of the nights that we're on, Tim, we're playing 3, 4, 5 hours in a night, right? We get on maybe 9, 10 o'clock and we'll play till 2 in the morning. That is really hard to do when it's something overly repetitive. For me, at least, like that's how I feel going into it. Is I want to see 5 or 6 maps, ideally like 7, again, closer to how you see it. Like Call of Duty usually gives you about 10 to 13 maps on release.
And that's what I was going to bring up was Call of Duty is, people want to say, well, maybe if all 3 were stellar, right? Maybe let's say all 3 maps are like Dust 2 level of entertainment, right? Which is not the case here, because Split, everyone across the board have agreed that Split is like one of the worst maps known to mankind.
People don't queue in when we get that map.
Right.
Like they automatically don't choose a character, so it voids the game out.
So when you really only have 2 enjoyable maps, that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
And who knows how this 4th one's going to be, right? But my thing is look at Modern Warfare. If for those who haven't played it, every single map in that game sucks. I really don't think I enjoy one map on Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I mean, do you? Like, truly, when we played multiplayer, because I know we don't play multiplayer, but, like, was there any maps that you were just like, damn, this is a fun map to play? Or was it just, well, this one's not the worst?
Okay, so yeah, I would go with the fact that, hey, this one is not the worst, but there's a handful of maps in there that are like good enough, right?
Good enough. But my point is you don't need to have knockout home run maps if you have volume from people to pick from. Call of Duty has garbage map design in Modern Warfare, but there's enough of it to where you're like, okay, at least I don't have to play this map. I don't have a 25% chance of getting this map every time. Where Valorant at launch, that is what my main concern is. And, I'll play devil's advocate here. Is I don't think there's ever going to be a game that we play like Counter-Strike or WoW for us. I just think we're at that age where there's a sense of comfortability with both of those. Like, we've been playing literally both for like 20 years, so that's probably more on us than anything. But we've
been playing the same maps almost for 20 years, Tim.
Right.
Like, it hasn't been
and that's what I'm saying. That's why it's like, to me, it's not so much there's not enough content. It's just what we have isn't good enough, right? I can't tell you how many times I've played in Counter-Strike just Dust 2, right? Like, just queue Dust 2 over and over, or just queue 3 or 4 maps anyways. But it's just the fact that I have options. My concern with Valorant, right, is the first impression for a lot of people. Where we have seen in gaming, the first impression means so much. And if you screw this up on a scale of a free-to-play game, I'm not saying it's going to die, but I'm just saying it could leave a bad taste in a lot of players' mouths, especially because Valorant is coming in under a microscope from every other FPS esports community out there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to get into the game, and I from a numbers point, Tim, it's going to do great, right? Like, Riot has the backing and loyal fan backing to where even if it's just these 3 or 4 maps, like, it's not going to hurt it too much early on. I think for the casual fan, however, those are the ones that you're worried about, right? The people that are looking for an FPS, a good first-person shooter, a tactical first-person shooter, they're going to get in, they're going to love it, they're going to play the heck out of it, right? And chances are 6 months down the line, we probably have another map or 2 added. I hope, right? That's the hope.
I'm not talking. This is literally talking about them leaving beta.
Yeah, like going from today to June 2nd, like not a lot's going to change, right? They're going to add that one map most likely. But to me, it's a huge concern because they don't have a Dust 2. I don't think any of the maps are really that great. Split is awful for a couple of different reasons, right? Just from a tactical perspective. So it's an awful map. It looks pretty. It's a good looking map, right? Like the design aesthetic looks nice. That's not the problem I'm talking about. It's the quality of play that comes into concern there. But even Bind and Haven, like they're good maps. They're not bad maps, but like Bind, I'm not a huge teleporter fan. Like I don't love that mechanic. And if they were going to have it, I kind of wish there was just one on that map versus the two that they have. But I don't love Bind. I would not equate that to a Dust 2. Haven, well, it's a little unusual because it's a 3 bomb site map. So I don't know if the core player really loves that overall consensus of 3 bomb sites. I think it's still kind of an unknown. So let's take Split out of the equation. Well, your other 2 maps to me are like good maps. Not great, very choke point heavy. They're designed around ability usage, which I understand to a certain extent, but I think there's several flaws within those maps. Like I do not think they're very good maps. And so now we're running into that issue of, well, we don't have a Dust 2 that I kind of want to repeat play 20 times in one night. Like I can do till this day with Inferno, Dust 2. Like there's a couple of maps in Counter-Strike where if it queues 3-4 times in a row, probably not going to blink. Like it's fine. I enjoy the maps enough to where it's not an issue. I don't feel that way, which is really shocking for me because the individual that created these maps has is a Counter-Strike guy. Like Sal is from the Counter-Strike world, and so it just shows the difficulty I think of creating stellar maps. And so that's my first and biggest concern. I think from a tactical gameplay standpoint, there's changes that people have been like crying for that they haven't changed, like things like aim punch, right? How that mechanic works, like it doesn't feel good right now. And I thought that's what this open or closed and then open beta was going to allow us to voice those concerns and then for them to make changes around them based on what they deemed, hey, this is valid or this is not valid. They've done that a little bit and they definitely listened to the community, but they haven't had time to implement nearly as many changes that I think they need to. And so I almost feel like this is Riot being like, hey, devs, like the way Riot's broken down, right, is you have a team that's working on Valorant, you have a team that's working on League of Legends, but then you have Riot being the big umbrella, right, like the business people. I think this is the business people telling the Valorant people, you need to release this game now. We're in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, I was just
player numbers will be crazy.
Do you think
get this game out?
This is quarantine based? Like they're
I
thinking
think to a certain extent.
Like, hey, everyone is home. Let's hit this now. If you wait till October, which is kind of what I thought I was always thinking kind of like a fall release for this game, is if you wait, maybe quarantine is, lifted everywhere. We're back to normal life for the most part. And people are like, bro, I've just been sitting at home playing games for 6 months. I got to get out of the house. So now maybe player numbers aren't as big or as, lucrative as before. I think that definitely plays a part in it.
Do you think, Tim, another part of this could then be, take the flip side of that? What if in their mind, people are not playing this as much after the first 4 or 5 weeks. We want to throw this out now to the masses to just increase our overall player count. Like maybe not as many people. I know in our circle that's definitely true. It's not just you and me I'm talking about when I reference this. We play Valorant with usually 7 to 10 people on average. We kind of flip between. And I can tell you right now, if I go into the game, there's maybe 1 or 2 of them consistently online. And not a lot of them are continuously going back for, again, like all-nighters. Like that's what you kind of expect to see with a lot of games that are brand new is people are just crazy, like just going crazy over a game. And to me, I feel like maybe it's the opposite effect of they're seeing that diminish a little bit and there's pressure to, hey, let's get this out. This will pump up the player numbers. Y'all work harder to release content. Like, hey, dev team, that's on you to release content, but we want you to release this now so we can increase the player base.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. One of my big concerns with just the so quick release is, because again, I was expecting like October, because I was thinking what you were,
But they said summer all along, right? Like it was always going to be a summer release. It's just at the beginning of summer versus the end of summer. Like that was always the thing. It was a summer
It was going
2020
to be a
release.
summer 2020, but you know how that goes. Like open beta or so. I mean, I was at least expecting an open beta, right? To
For
carry
sure.
us to
Yeah.
August or something.
That's what the announcement should have been. Is hey, we're going into open beta June 2nd, and then you release the game sometime in August. You know,
Yeah,
like
August,
just
September. Like I said, yeah, September, October is kind of what I always thought, anyways. Because you're right. I feel like they kind of shot themselves in the foot here, and it definitely seems like a business decision, not a dev decision to do it, right? I think if you asked a dev team, they would always want more time in beta to work out the kinks and adjust maps here and there. What concerns me is this now kicks it up a notch and starts the timer or starts the clock, whatever that saying is, on everything Valorant. Right? Now, okay, when is there going to be an official pro league? When are the tournaments going to be? How is this esports scene going to work out? And all that. How is the updates going to go? Where before it was kind of like, hey, we're in beta. G2 can have a tournament. Nerd Street can have a tournament, whatever. Well, now this is not in beta. The big boys are going to get involved now, right? Now this is where you're going to have a giant ESL event and things like that. And especially when life gets a little back to normal and players can start traveling again, who knows what type of things that we get from here. And could you imagine in a tournament, you're playing a finals, a best of 5, you have 4 maps. Like it just doesn't seem, it seems like a very rushed start to me. And I didn't think about it that from a business side, like maybe Riot is saying, hey, let's strike while the iron is hot. Let's not let this fire dim. Let's get it out there and go, go, go. Because, yeah, it just seems very early.
I think a pro league right now would honestly fare a little disappointing.
Yeah,
I don't
100%.
because the pro league as of today would be the same people that we have been watching in all of these one-off tournaments, right? Like that would be your pro league. The streamers and the pros from other ex-pros from other games, those are the people that are going to be signed to teams immediately because A, they had access before anybody, B, they have full coverage because they're getting sponsored to come and play in these tournaments, right? So then your pro league, obviously, for no fault of their own, will get made up of this group of players without 90% of the player base that's going to be joining, you know, having access to the game. However many, let's just say 50%. Let's say half people aren't in that are eventually going to play, whatever it may be. And so I think that is a huge concern for me as somebody who's covering esports, that's talking about esports. I'm not ready to talk Valorant esports yet. I don't think the game is ready to be talked about in that light. I just think there needs to be more to the game. And so I think it's just gonna cause this weird effect, right? Like the game's gonna go live, then you're gonna have a push from PGL, ESL, you know, think of all the TOs that are out there, right? They're all going to come in and everyone's going to want to get a piece of it and they're going to want to be first. Like whoever's first, generally, you know, you got a running head start then at that point. So I think all of these guys are going to dive in immediately. And you're right. We're going to see these tournaments where, hey, okay, probably going to do best of 3, right? You're probably not going to see best of 5s, I would assume, because there's only 3 maps. So that's going to dictate how that's going to be played out. Oh, but wait, one of the maps sucks and most players don't like playing it. So maybe that gets pushed off to a map 3. Well, then, hey, that's your decider map.
Or if you have
most of
4
the time.
maps, you have 1 veto. Split will get vetoed 99% of the time.
Yeah, so then you're only going to see those 2 maps over and over again. People will still be finding out bugs in the game. So then they'll be abused until they're banned, right? Which almost takes us into our next segment of maybe there ends up being gentleman agreements here to not do certain things in the game to make it play the way it should. I just, again, Tim, I'm excited for the game. Okay, so I don't want to come across as like a negative Nancy. I am truly hyped for Valorant and I want to see it succeed as much as anybody else does. Like I really want to see them do well. I don't have this whole hatred towards Riot. I don't like what some of the stuff that's come out, right? But I'm not like some anti-Riot person that's going to sit here with the pitchfork saying, I want them to fail. They, you know, have all these other issues internally. I want to see the esport succeed. I'm just nervous for a lot of reasons that I think are very valid. Like, I just don't think the game is in an amazing playable state. For something that's been in development for 7 years, I kind of expected a little bit more. Like, I really did. It's shocking that I'm saying this because if you heard, guys, if you were listening to our show 7 or 8 episodes ago, maybe 10, the way we talked about Valorant, like, you would think we had a love affair with the game. And I think we did, but I think I'm kind of leaving that honeymoon period a little bit right now. And to me, that's really early to be feeling that way.
Now, I will let our listeners know this, though. You are notoriously for game hopping. So can we admit that you have gaming ADD?
For games that I think are average.
Look, I have a list of games in my Steam that I could pull out right now that say games Anuj made me buy and played twice.
That's also true. But for the best esports out there, Counter-Strike.
Right.
That's one game we can all agree that we've never left.
Games away, though, that you didn't start playing when you were 14. Like, that's, I think, a huge factor in this, right? Like, I have friends now that never played WoW. I try to get them to play WoW, and they're like, like, I'm going to go back to Final Fantasy. Like, Brett still plays Final Fantasy over WoW. Even though ask 100 people, 98 of them will say WoW's better than Final Fantasy. It's just, I do think that's a factor, but I also agree. I want to make it clear. I still enjoy playing Valorant. It's not like I'm over it. I just think it's a way too early of a launch to be like, this is it. You're telling me that it's almost like if your teacher at school, this might be a bad analogy, I don't know. If your teacher on day 1 of school said, hey, you have a project, this is your assignment, and you can turn it in any time between now and the end of the year. Anytime you want. When you feel like this is good enough, you can turn in your project. And then 5 weeks later, you go to her and say, this is it. This is the best I got. It's kind of like...
So are you sure you don't want a little bit more time?
Yeah,
you have time.
Yeah, I said summer 2020. It's only May 27th. Like, you can go till September if you want. No. This is it. This is what I want my first impression to be.
That's exactly why it makes me believe it's a business decision, because I think if you asked any dev in any game, would they like more time to polish their game? 95% of them would say, yes, I want more time. Like, I need more time.
Yeah.
Game developers would take 20 years to make games if you only left it up to them. So I do believe there's a need for the business side to push things along. In this case, I just feel like it's early. As much as I hop around to different games, I stick to a core group for the most part. Like, I don't want to compare Steam libraries with you because I know what your number is at. I know it's very, very high in terms of number of games that we own. But we play what we like to play. I like to play Valorant. I'm just nervous for what they're trying to do right now. I feel like it's too much of a business decision and not focusing enough on, is this ready? Like, is it ready to be released? And my answer is no. Like, it's a straight up, I don't think the game is ready to be released in a competitive esports state. And then there's going to be the other half saying, oh, well, Riot's not making a league. It's not Riot that I'm worried about. It's the other 20 organizers that are going to come in and shove this down our throat to make it the real deal from day one. They're going to do that. There is no stopping them from doing it because there's a space for it. Like, there's a spot for it.
Well,
like,
and in their defense, like, this is what they know the game is. Riot's not going to make a league right away because they know behind closed doors, guys, we have like 10 more maps coming out. Let's wait, right? But to everyone in the unknown, it's kind of like, well, no, this is it. Let's go. You don't want to be ESL and versus whoever, Star Ladder or whatever, and say, ooh, let's hold off. Let's wait to see if this is good. No, I mean, I'm almost surprised that they don't have like an ESL tournament already in the beta. So it's kind of astonishing that it took them there. So again, I think overall we agree that it's too soon. I'm going to play it. I'm still going to be excited for it. I It's just.
Let me ask you, Tim, are you going to regrind the moment it comes out the way we did when the beta came out? Do you see yourself like June 2nd? Are we getting online and our new focus is what is the highest rank we're going to get the moment it comes out June 2nd? Do we drop everything else that we're playing to hop back on June 2nd and then continuously play it from there?
I mean, I think we'll get on June 2nd. I think we'll play heavily that first week or so and that weekend. But again, I just think we have to also be realists that you and I don't do that anymore. Unless it's World of Warcraft, we don't even get on Counter-Strike that often anymore to really grind, whether it be FPL or MM. Like, we're old. We're boomers.
What would you rather play, Valorant or Counter-Strike? You could pick one.
Yeah, like, okay, so in this scenario, we got our boys on, right? We got the crew. And it was like, bro, let's run 10 mans, right? In this scenario, we'll say that. If you have 10 people and you can just all night, go, 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 go. Because I don't give a shit about my rank in any game anymore. I'm too old to care. Me personally, I think I would say Counter-Strike. But I will say I've also been playing that for 20 years. So I don't know, if I'm being honest, I don't know what part of me is saying it. Is the part of me that says it's a better game?
I would like for me to want to say Valorant just for the simple fact that it's something new. Right? Because we've been playing Counter-Strike for that long, that my heart would be like, oh man, this is a new game. I want the new shiny toy. Like, that's what I want to be focused on. And I don't feel that right now. And that's my concern, because I want to feel that for this game. I think I will. I just don't know if it's going to be like June 2nd. Like, I think it might be June 2nd of 2021 when they've released 2 or 3 more maps. They've released 4 or 5 more agents. They've fixed some more of the bugs. I'm consistently getting 100 plus frames per second. Like, those are the things that will drive me to want to grind the game out. Am I going to play when it comes out? Yes, I'm going to play when the game comes out. I like the game. I really do like the game. I just want more for it. I want it to do really well. I don't want it to just be another esport. We see too much of that right now, where it's like, oh, here's another esport. Oh, here's another esport. Let's get this game out. Oh, this game's got to be esports focused. We see too much of that shit. I was looking for this game to like kind of stand out amongst the crowd, right? Right now, I kind of just see it fitting in.
But isn't it weird that up until this announcement of June 2nd, I really felt like it was going in the right direction? Oh, they listened. Yeah. They're making the tweaks, and okay, this and if they would, it's just so weird how it being official is like, oh damn, okay.
Because we know what that does, though. We know what the effect of them going official, like what that does to every, like how it sets the stage for everything else.
And what does, and you know me, I get triggered, right? And I'll yell at games and I'll say this game sucks and blah blah blah, but I'll continue to play it. But what does everyone always tell me? And it sends me through the goddamn roof. It's early access, Tim. Calm down. It's beta. Yeah. It's beta. I will punch you. If I'm playing an early access game with you and I'm like, this game sucks, and you say it's early access, I'm punching you in the throat. I'm jumping.
Tim, what about Fortnite? It's early access. They still have time. You still have time to make some fixes.
Look, they were just waiting for Unreal 5.
Valorant is doing the right things in terms from their development standpoint. If you want to talk about having badass patch notes and letting you know exactly what they're fixing, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful to wake up and see the Valorant patch notes because it's detailed. It's got everything. You see that they're listening. It's just, okay, y'all are the ones that said it's live.
Yeah.
Like, that means it's the final product.
Yes, you are losing the get out of jail free card by saying it's out of beta. There is no more excuses. If I'm like, this game is trash, in Rage, of course, I don't think it's trash, but you get what I'm saying. No one can fall back on, well, it's beta. Look at all the things they're changing. It's like, great. It's not beta anymore.
There's the other end of that. Like, you can't, like, Fortnite to me can't use that. Like, oh, we're still early access. Like, okay, that's a different story, right? Like, that's the polar opposite, where that excuse no longer has any meaning. In this case, you're right, though. Like, going into a live game, it does take away that excuse. Like, it needs to be more polished than it is now.
It ramps up the expectations.
look, that's the sentiment that I'm hearing from professional players, like professional content creators, people that are actively playing the game. Like they're voicing a lot of these same concerns. And so they have now put the pressure on themselves. Look, we're still going to cover it very closely. We're still going to be playing it. I really hope they understand you're the one that flipped the switch. So if we bash on your first pro league that takes place ESL, or if we bash on whatever events come up because hey, maybe they're a little boring, like after the 17th series of the same 3 maps, I might not be that entertained, and then we come on next week's show and talk a little shit about the tournament because it wasn't that exciting, it got a little boring, that's on you. You flipped the on switch. We didn't do that. So they got to be prepared for, I think, some heat that they're going to get. There's going to be a lot of excitement early on, just like there was for when the closed beta came out. There's going to be excitement on June 2nd because a lot of new people are jumping in. Talk to me 6 weeks after that. Let's see how many of those new players still are as excited the moment they started playing the game. Because I can tell you, Apex Legends broke records when it released. PUBG broke records when it released. Warzone, 100 million players when it comes out. People are going to be quick to turn on you if you don't fix it. Apex Legends is a dying game. PUBG is a dead game. And you're talking about some of the most popular titles all time in gaming. PUBG broke world records for the number of players. I don't give a shit about your unique player base. I think that's what the business side is looking at, is can we drive up the numbers? Then we can start selling it to sponsors. Look, there's 100 million players logging into this game. That's what they can use to go turn around and sell it to MasterCard and Alienware to jump on board and be sponsors. But as gamers, as people that are involved in esports that love to cover it, there's some real backlash that I think will happen 6, 8, 10 weeks down the line if they don't move quick enough to addressing a lot of the concerns that people have.
So on Monday's show, we will have Drone, newly signed with TSM Drone, on the show. So we can pick a Valorant pro's brain about this a little bit, Anuj, just to get his take as far as, was he surprised to see it coming out so soon to be official out of beta? So mark it on your calendars. Don't want to miss it. If you have any questions that you'd want us to ask Drone of TSM, let us know, and maybe we will if it's appropriate. You know how that goes.
I just remember that he's coming on the show. I'm excited for this game, Tim. It's gonna be the best game ever.
I think it's gonna be great. It's gonna be
the best thing ever.
Look, I think anyone that's if anyone was like, "Hey, bro, I'm super excited to have 4 maps," they're lying.
Yeah.
It's
their first tactical FPS that they're playing. They don't play Call of Duty. They don't play Counter-Strike. Like they don't see what some of these other games. Look, Call of Duty makes 13 maps a year.
Yeah.
A year they come out with 13 shitty maps, right? But they come out with 13 of them.
Yeah.
So I'm not asking. I don't think we're asking for a lot when we're like, a 5 or 6 map pool for a game that's supposed to be a 10-year game. The game's been development
for 7 years. You're telling me you have less than 1 map a year designed? Like, what? What are we doing? Like, open up that map design. Just open up. This is what you got to do. And this is why Valve was so genius when they did it too. Just open up the source or whatever. Let people design maps.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't want to make maps? Easy enough. Let custom servers and let people build their own maps. Create some orange maps. Orange box maps. Do you remember those? Those were the best.
The good old orange box maps.
Yeah, those are the best.
And let somebody else come in and texturize them. Let it be a group thing, a community thing. And people are willing to help. They're not going to ever give those tools, I don't believe, in Valorant. Ryan's very...
I feel like those days are done.
That way,
I almost feel like if Valve could go back and redo it, they wouldn't either. Like, I feel like the days of just custom maps in games.
Yeah, that's because Valve is tired of hearing "bring back Tuscan." Like they're tired of hearing about people asking for maps that are in their game that they don't want to give us. But again, hell, they could even steal Counter-Strike maps, Tim, for all I care. I think Counter-Strike maps would care. Really cool in Valorant. The wider lanes, the openness of some of the maps. Like, I would like to see some of that in their next map design. we'll see. The new picture of the new one kind of looked a little bit like Cash, so maybe that's, some of the things that are rolling out. There's an additional game mode, so I guess those are some things that we should talk about. You are going to be getting not only a new map, we are getting one new agent. It was supposed to be two. They cut off one of them because they didn't feel it was ready for launch. And then they're also giving us a new...
Like if there was a beta, it could be released in?
That would be good.
I didn't want to point it out, but almost seems...
There is a new game mode that they're going to be releasing that they've been pretty tight-lipped on. It's not deathmatch. So for everybody that's out there clamoring for deathmatch, unfortunately for all of us, that's not it yet. I think we'll get that soon. A deathmatch seems like, just give me an open field. I don't care. Just give me a deathmatch to go play in, right? Throw some random boxes up and we'll be happy. But there's a new game mode, and I think it is tied to the competitive pool, if I'm not mistaken. So I really have no idea what that game mode could be. Like, I ran through some ideas in my head because I started thinking of old other games, right? Could it be a capture the flag? Would a hostage map make sense? No, probably not. It doesn't fit.
See, I read it was almost like the same thing, just shorter.
Well, so they did say it's like shorter in like playable time, but you think it's like the same 5v5 deathmatch bomb plant?
That's what I thought. I always called it dad mode, which I was kind of excited about. Like, if you're telling me I could play this game and get a game done in 20 minutes, great.
And those are the things that I am excited about. So
yeah.
I think I should point that out, as having an additional game mode is a great thing. Like, more options for the players, always better. Another agent, that's good. I did bitch about this on Apex. Like, I thought Apex did a terrible job of releasing new playable heroes. They should have released so many more quickly in that game. Having one come out, okay, I can live with that because, hey, the game's been in open beta for like a month, basically. So having one more coming now is great. There's other areas where, again, I think it just falls short. But there is some stuff that does have me excited that I will go and try immediately. The new game mode
added 2 agents as well.
Who did?
Raze was not in the official first round. So people forget that.
Look, that's their fault. They put it out there. It's part of the initial group,
but what
right?
I'm saying, like, as far as closed beta, like, they've still technically added 2. Technically. But
yeah. And we're getting the one more, so hopefully that's an exciting one with, again, like, hopefully it has limited bugs. I can't tell you the number of bugs people are going to encounter now with the new agent coming in. Who knows what that agent's abilities are? Oh, but wait, now your matches count. Now your ranked matches mean something to those who care about
even your
rank,
unranked matches might mean something. Who knows? So either way, though, we're still going to play it. We're just, again, kind of bitching at this from a very high overview, first impression, too soon type of thing. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be fun. We'll still play it. Still, on weekends, if we can get enough people, run 10-man community nights and things like that. So let us know in Discord what you think about the release being for June 2nd. But let's move on to our next topic, which is another plethora of issues in itself. And it happens at least once, but it seems like it comes up every season for Call of Duty since they started.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
A season.
You definitely get at the start.
Multiple times every game.
And that's gentlemen agreements. Now, if you're asking, well, what are those? It's a good question, because it literally doesn't happen in any other sport, in any other esport. Call of Duty is the only one that has to deal with this crap. And it's essentially where players agree to not do something. So, for example, this happened one time in Counter-Strike where the jump glitch on Inferno.
Yeah.
Where they kind of agreed mid-tournament, let's not do that. Wasn't intended by the developers that you should be able to do that. Let's not do it.
A broken mechanic, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So Call of Duty gets this a lot with overpowered weapons, overpowered abilities, things like that aren't already taken out. So Activision does their once over and says, okay, we're definitely not going to have... And so the thing with Call of Duty, which drives me nuts, is You have pugs, which is like the Wild West. Everything goes. Then you have the pro ladder, or pro quote unquote ladder, right? Their competitive mode in game that comes out 7 months after the game's release. And that's what Activision feels like it should be played as on a pro level, because they use pro settings. And then you have what the actual pros play with, which is Activision's pro settings plus gentleman agreements thrown in. So if you're watching a pro Call of Duty match, just know it is nothing like you will ever play in the actual game, because unless you're just playing a private room with a piece of paper taped up on your wall with every single gentleman agreement, you're just not going to, it's not going to happen. So this came up most recently when Clayster tweeted out about the automatic tactical sprint. There's now talks of they wanted to do a gentleman's agreement to not use it. Apparently it can cause additional camera angles or and such like that. Is that true?
Yeah, there's like a couple. So A is the movement speed. It does give you a boosted movement speed that you really shouldn't be able to get. You don't have to use you don't have to use your thumb basically to push down, right? Like you normally, to do a tactical sprint, you push down on your thumbstick, it gives you that movement boost, and that's what you get. The auto tac sprint feature is exactly what it sounds. It's an auto tactical sprint. So when it's up, it pops, and people are able to use that basically along with cancel sliding. So they can really get these crazy speed boosts. Makes it really hard to aim at them. It's just an added benefit. That's something that's built into the game. So this is an actual feature, which is a little unique that it's being banned. It has been agreed upon by the group to no longer use it. So it's a setting in game that you're telling everybody to turn off. So it's a built-in feature by Activision that they're like, no, we can't use it. You can do some crazy stuff with it. So that has been agreed upon. The other big one was the Merc foregrip. The Merc foregrip is just an attachment on a weapon. Basically increases the range of SMGs by X amount. But that has also been disabled. And then Tim, there's three things total. So that's two of them. The third one, I find it really difficult to how they're going to control it, because it's called snaking. It's where you can get up and down quickly, and you kind of can do it repetitively. And so that they're banning that as well. And so all three of those features, there's several that were talked about. The 10mm ammo on the SMGs. If you look at it with that attachment and the Merc foregrip attachment, you were aiming on an SMG significantly further than you were able to aim on an M4 accurately. Put them in what they call the kill range, right? So the kill range is increased by X amount by having these attachments. So they've come in and banned those three. They didn't ban the 10mm, which I'm very surprised about, but probably because it would have killed the MP5 altogether. So they allowed it. But those three being banned, now you will not see it, coming up. I think there's certain teams that are going to have to alter their play style. FaZe comes to mind a lot. Dallas, Empire, obviously with Shotzi and how his movement is, like it affects somebody like him maybe more so than other players. But Tim, I hate this stuff. I hate it. Like, I just can't stand that players have the power. I shouldn't say have the power. I can't stand that players are put in a position to where they have to alter the game to where they feel like, oh, now it's in a good playable state. And I mean, that's just my 2 cents on it. I don't like that GAs have ever been a thing.
You know me. If I was a pro, there's not a chance in hell I would oblige by any gentleman's agreement ever. I'd be like, no. If the devs are saying that it's good, then I'm going to use it. Like, we're playing with the hand we're dealt. We're not going to... Now, if it's at the start of the season, that might be one thing. But, like, for these guys in the CDL, they're in the middle of the season. So they've already gone half the year with this stuff. Some teams have played more matches than others, so it's not even on an even playing field. It doesn't make sense. I mean, it makes sense on why some teams want to do it. What doesn't make sense is that why this even has to be a thing. right? It just proves my point even more that Activision, when Call of Duty, look, they use the Pro League, I think, in my opinion, as a way to almost promote the game rather than using the game to make the league better. They use the league to promote the game, right? Like now how they're doing this Warzone thing with the league. I've seen more about these Warzone Wednesdays for the Call of Duty League than I've seen any type of advertisement for the actual Call of Duty League. Why is that? Because Warzone is now the new popular thing in Call of Duty, so they're going to push it more. But the fact that you actually have a professional league, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, so you're right. They don't. Pro League just seems like an afterthought for Call of Duty. Like, hey, our game is already really big. We were big before you pros came into play. Y'all are in addition to the game, right? And so, you know, stuff like this, you wish the developers would just kind of put this in their hands. My biggest issue or argument that I have towards gentleman agreements is there's no way it can be biased. Like, there's no way. Because not everybody plays the same position. Not everybody has the same type of movement capabilities. Hell, not everybody has the same aim. So there's going to be different people that want different things to help themselves out individually, right?
Right.
I'm not going to recommend something to be GA'd if I know that that's something that's benefiting me. Like, why would I do that? That makes no sense for me to be like, if I'm one of the few people using this particular attachment, why would I be like, oh, guys, this is overpowered. We shouldn't use this.
You know what it reminds me of? Do you remember way back in the day, like playing custom servers in Counter-Strike, and the server would have the op banned, like you couldn't purchase the op? Do you remember? Like that was a big thing in custom servers back in like 1.6 and Source. And that always bothered me because I'm like, but it's the op. Like the fact
one of the main guns.
Right, it's a main gun. Like, what are you talking about? But I felt like it was just because like that person who owned that server died one too many times from it. So they're like, no, it's overpowered, it's stupid. And I feel like these general agreements for Call of Duty is the same thing, where you have guys, in this case, sitting at home that aren't even attending these weekends for the events, watching someone use the ATS saying, oh, that's stupid, that's overpowered, look at what he just did with it. When was it ATS, was it automatic tactical sprint that did it, or was it a skill play? And I don't want a skill play, I don't want an exciting fast action play to be ruined because someone might think it's overpowered or because that player is good with it to where he used it to his advantage.
Yeah, just again, I feel like this should just never be in the player's hands for that exact reason. Like, everybody just has a different motive behind what they want in the game. And Call of Duty traditionalists will tell you it's always been this way.
Yeah, well, which it has. That's not,
it has.
Not wrong.
It has always been this way, but it doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. Like, I just feel like GA should be saved for maybe a gun that's very obviously, like, if you go look at the stats on it, it does 5 times more damage than any gun in that same category.
Yeah. Well, like in World War II, there was that one rifle that
one shot everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like that type of stuff, you kind of understand a little bit more. But I feel like this should just be in the developers' hands and let them almost dictate how the game should be played. Now, if that doesn't work and we see, a shit ton of flaws in the game, okay, you can maybe sell me on this is a good thing for the game. I just don't think that it's going to ever be fair and biased the way that it's currently done. Maybe there should be a panel of X players that are doing this, but again, relationships and all that kind of come into play. It's never going to be like truly 100% unbiased, but the way it is now, like, it just seems like a flawed way.
This is what I would like to see is in a perfect world for me, gentlemen agreements would only happen in preseason, right? Hey, we've played a handful of scrims. We all know what is and what isn't, overpowered or cheap. So this is what we're going to do. But I understand that the game is ever changing. They're constantly nerfing and patching and boosting things in the game. I understand that. So maybe have like a mid-season window where the players can get together and then agree, hey, we've all played 10 matches or whatever, right? We've all played 4 weekends. We've all played the same amount of matches, apart from if you were eliminated early, but you all attended the same events. Let's now have that mid-season discussion. What do we want to GA for the remaining of the year? And I'd be okay with that. But this random just torch and pitchforks of, oh, this seems all overpowered now, it's kind of like, okay, so who killed you one too many times with it for you to think it?
Do you think Activision, would you be okay if Activision had final rule with the pro settings?
If they consulted the pros, my fear is that we've seen Activision just doesn't understand how to run a competitive anything. Like, they don't even have a ranked mode in their game and such, and even the pro pool or the pro ladder doesn't come out until when your game's almost done with its lifespan anyways. So that would concern me. But no, I'm not. Here's what I think. And I've thought this way forever, is no one knows how to make the game professionally fun more than the pros. Look at like Halo. Bungie never made a pro setting. They had their settings and MLG perfected it. And then that was the standard for Halo. Hell, even if you go into like the Master Chief Collection on PC, they have it. It's called MLG Playlist. They didn't even try to reinvent the wheel. Bungie wasn't calling it the, professional playlist or the elite playlist. No, they said, oh, MLG was the one who created this rule set. Boom. It's now called MLG Rules Playset. So I think it's important that the pros and everyone have their involvement with it, but I wouldn't be against it if the rules were set and final until next year,
It's just so funny how different games are operated, right? We keep using Counter-Strike as the example, but like Counter-Strike pros have no say in how the biggest esport is run. They have no say in what guns should be nerfed, what guns are over, should or need to be buffed to any extent. Molly damage being.
They're just like one of us in that sense.
They're what?
They're just like one of us.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, Hiko said it just the other day on his stream. He said he's had more communication with the Valorant dev team since closed beta started than he had in his 15 years, 10 years, whatever it is, of being involved in professional Counter-Strike, which is pretty crazy. But again, it kind of just shows you, to me, that is a company that's capable of running a game competitively, where Infinity Ward, Activision, whoever the blame really falls on here, they're so incompetent that they can't put out a proper product that makes the game playable. The funny thing is, Tim, all these GAs, as a viewer, we're not going to notice a damn thing. Are you going to notice that somebody doesn't have the Merc foregrip on his gun? Like, you think you're going to be able to tell me who's got a Merc foregrip running, who has auto tactical sprint disabled or enabled? You're still going to see tactical sprints. It's not like they're taking out tactical sprints. You're just not going to be able to do it automatically. But as a viewer, you're not going to notice it. So it's almost like they're doing these things maybe to make the game more enjoyable just for themselves. But it has nothing to do with a viewer or spectator spot, because I'll have no idea. I'll really not be able to tell the difference at all. And so it's kind of unfortunate that these pros are put into a game that they chose to play, that it's been this way forever, but have constantly had incompetent developers backing them. Either they don't care, like you said, they don't care about the pro scene. It's not their look, go try to buy a pro skin. Good luck finding it in the store. They don't even have that easily available to you. We talked about them not promoting the league for the first
that's the only
3
thing
months.
in the game is the store section with the pro skins. That's the only place in the game you will see anything related to professional Call of Duty is in the store, so you can buy a pro skin. They don't have the league schedule. They don't have it when the next match is. They don't have the events. Nothing.
They have like 100 gigs worth of updates a week. and not one of them is focused on doing anything for the pro league. Again, I'm not going to sit here and just blame the players for doing what they're doing. They're doing it because they think it's right. It's just I don't like the thought of making changes to a competitive game based on only professional feedback, only pro players feedback, because again, I just don't feel like there's any way to be 100% bias in that situation. And some teams are going to suffer from these changes. I'm curious to see who they are. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, FaZe is not going to be good anymore. I guarantee you they're still going to whoop most teams' ass on any given day. It's just unfortunate that we're in a position to where trying to keep up with this crap, like, it's just hard. I mean, like, you're right. You would have to have a list by your desk to know who should be using what. Now with the whole snake, the whole being able to crouch, get up thing, like, now you have to visually monitor if somebody's breaking the rules, right? It's not like you can just say, oh, he has this attachment, he's cheating, or oh, he's using this perk, he's cheated, like he's not following the rules. Now you physically got to be watching each player, and if you're reviewing VODs or whatever, to be like, oh, look, he just used that, on whether it was on accident or not, he used it 2 or 3 times because it was just a natural movement thing for him. So it's just weird, the way that they have to do it. I put this more though on Infinity Ward and Activision for just being incompetent when it comes to some of this stuff. They obviously have been taking notes from Overwatch for the most part, it seems like, on how they try to balance their game. You could just tell they don't know what they're doing. Like, they clearly just don't know what they're doing half the time.
The next thing, and this kind of leads right into it then, with that they don't know what they're doing. The next thing on our Call of Duty CDL agenda here is Censor came out and recently did a video to kind of be outspoken, speak his mind about the current setup that the league has a lot of these players in, especially the guys who aren't starting. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If my memory is not mistaken, Censor was also the one who suggested subs should be allowed to make a super team and play in challengers, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So almost seems like he's kind of just throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks a little bit.
Well, that's kind of what he does, though. He's like a outspoken individual. He's passionate, but he's a very outspoken individual when it comes to anything.
Hold my hand and walk with me on this one here, okay? Because he might have a little bit of a leg to stand on this time around. Subs playing on a team? No, that's the dumbest. You're a sub. You signed as a bench. Be a bench guy. You didn't see, Jason Terry back in the Mavs being like, "Hey, can I go play in the G League?" Like,
can I go dominate the G League and win a championship over there this year?
No, that's not how that works. Fourth liners in hockey just have to wait their turn. They can't just go play in the minors. Well, they could, but
Contract.
Yeah, 2-way contract, and I think they'd rather be on the bench on an AHL. Anyways, let's not bring up traditional sports, just depresses me. So Censor recently did a video saying that he has lost around $100,000 due to lost opportunities with sponsorships, having to drop sponsors, not being able to make certain amount of content, what have you. However way you want to do the math, $100,000 was the number he threw out there that he has lost since joining and signing with the CDL team. Now, the issue where this falls into place is because now that you're an official player underneath a league, right, you kind of have to follow the league's guidelines. And this happened many years ago with the NFL. So a lot of the players back in the NFL would show up to practice and pregame warm-ups with Dr. Dre beats on. Remember this? Because obviously Beats by Dre, and that was the cool thing to wear, so all the players had them. The NFL stepped in and said, no, you guys cannot either wear them, be sponsored, whatever you got going on right now, you can't wear Beats anymore because we as a league are sponsored by Bose. So you can't wear Beats anymore. This kind of created a little uproar in the league, but eventually everyone lived with it and said, oh, I'm still getting free $400 pair of headphones. I think I'm okay.
Or they just tape the logo or whatever,
Whatever, right. But the long story is the league did get involved there. This is not unheard. My point is this is not uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, people are trying to paint the CDL to be these Nazis out here telling these players what they can or can't do.
It's normal. Yes, this is normal business.
This is like, you have conflicting interests. Sorry, the league is going to win out. That's how it works. If the league is sponsored with Coke and you have a Pepsi deal, sorry. Like, it's just if they want to suck. Yeah, if they want to tell you you can't do it, you can't do it. So anyways, I digress. So this is where Censor's coming and saying, hey, that's fine, but then at least let me make the content I want to create. So this falls now into the Challenger League that they have for the CDL, which, for those who don't know, is like the Contenders League, right? You don't see a lot of it because there's not an official stream for it. It's really only for, like, at the event type of atmosphere. They don't really do a whole lot to promote it, go figure. Anyways, so Censor said, hey, can I stream these matches on my Twitch stream so people can watch them? And I can, like, talk about them and everything while they're going. Originally, the league said, yeah, sure, go for it, no problem. So Censor started streaming the matches, got to around 4,000 viewers, and then the league was like, whoa, misunderstanding. You don't have a streaming contract, which I've never heard of, Censor's never heard of. No one's ever heard of the streaming contract. That felt like a lawyer just made it up on the league side. Doesn't it sound like that? Like, oh, our lawyer said you need a streaming contract. Like, what is that?
Got to have one of these in place that we just drafted.
Something we just made up. And so now he wasn't able to stream that anymore. So now, not only is he not able to have some of the sponsors that he's had or is trying to have or whatever, he also can't stream content and make some of the content that he wants to make that the league originally said he could, and now he can't. So this has kind of been an all upheaval fight now of is CDL, anti helping out the players, or is it even worth signing with the CDL? Which, again, I feel like people just forget what happened with the Overwatch League, but this was a major issue with the Overwatch League. That's why every top player ended up leaving the league, because they realized, oh shit, I can make like 4 times the money going back to streaming. Why would I want to be a pro? Right? That's why Siegel and half the other guys left, because they made more money streaming and doing their own thing.
But that's what the point you just made is they left to go do that.
Exactly.
Right? Like, they're not involved with the league and then trying to profit off of the league, where the league potentially feels like they have an opportunity to profit. I'm going to probably take a stance here that's not going to be overly popular, right? But like, if you're in the league, this is a dictatorship, okay? This is not a democracy when it comes to you playing in a league. Like, that's just not how it works. They get final say. If they want to make up rules as they go, as shitty as they may be, like, they're allowed to do that. And if they saw an opportunity there, like, oh gosh, like, he's streaming this, we don't want him to be the next big thing. Maybe we need to be streaming this on a live stream or putting out the content because we know that it's going to generate views. We want to take that away from you. Unfortunately, like, they can do that. And I don't blame them for doing it. I don't like it, but I understand. Like, again, it's always business first for these people. What's interesting is, like, there's a commissioner for the Call of Duty League that I haven't heard a damn peep from her since this league came out.
No,
the only time I have heard her name, Joanna Fair, she comes from the NFL, so kind of put 2 and 2 together here, right? Go. Our references are coming from NFL references. Joanna Fair comes from the NFL. Maybe that's where a lot of these rules come into place, but like, maybe she should be a little bit more of a voice for the league, right? If you're going to be the commissioner, that means you're kind of the spokesperson. Think of like Nate, for Overwatch League now for Epic Games. He's gone into complete dead silence mode since he moved over to Epic. But that's for different reasons, because Epic's Games also does not know how to run an esport. Go figure. But like, I think she needs to come out and speak to some of the ongoing issues that we're seeing, because it's a bad look right? You gave him permission. You saw that it was successful. Maybe that's not the reason you took it away, but that's the perception from everybody is you gave it to him. He was doing a good job with it. You pulled it away because maybe it was going too well. And so it's unfortunate, but again, this is a dictatorship. They make the rules. They set the guidelines. They can give, they can take, they can do what they want to do. It's their league, right? A little different than like MLG days where MLG third party running the league gave players a lot of freedom. You got to remember all these players are coming from that era, right? This is not like the new era of Call of Duty players. So for them to be having, some of these stern punishments or warnings coming down on them is probably a little unusual because I highly doubt MLG ever got involved to that extent from holding players back from making money. Censor is a whole nother thing though, because he's so vocal in every aspect of the game, whether, like we said, we talked about the sub rule, this rule, he's always involved in some controversy. Him and Parasite, you hear their names more than you hear about professional players. So I take it all with a little bit of a grain of salt because Censor's always involved in some BS one way or another, good, bad, indifferent. He's always involved somehow. So I don't know, for this particular topic, like I don't like it, but I get it. Like if the league thinks that they have an opportunity here to do something with it, okay, it's your property, so do as you please, And
that's kind of where I landed on it too, which I think longtime listeners of TCR would probably have guessed that, right? We typically but understand more of the business corporate angle of things. I don't know if that's because we're just boomers and we're older and, have our own bank accounts that we realize like, hey, there's more to this than just some evil boss trying to go after and take the players' rights away. That being said, if I were the Call of Duty and my players wanted to start streaming matches to talk over them or do whatever they want, at this stage in the game, I would find a way to make that happen. Maybe not give free rights. Maybe, hey, you brought up this streaming contract. What is this streaming contract you're bringing up? And figure it out. Because you guys obviously don't want to spend money on advertising. I see more commercials for Call of Duty Mobile and the new Pigeon Overwatch League jerseys that came out, 6 months ago than I ever do anything else. So this could be like the easiest free advertising for you ever. Just give your guys permissions to. They want the league to grow. No one wants the league to grow more than the guys making money from it. So why not use that to your advantage now? Because, somewhere maybe this all blows up. Well, then it's going to be more difficult, right? You're going to want to have that control. You're going to want that viewership.
The one thing, you're 100% right. Like, they do not use the likeness of the players at all to promote the league. And Call of Duty is all about the players.
Yeah.
It's all about the personalities. The only reason we even talk about Call of Duty is because of how juicy the drama can be, how the personalities of the players like really shine because they're very vocal and if it's something's on their mind, they let it be known. And that's the beautiful part of the Call of Duty League is the players. The league does a terrible job of promoting the players in this case. Like the content that's coming out for the league is coming out from the orgs. It's not coming out from the league itself. Like the league's doing nothing to promote these guys. They could easily use Censor as their contender challengers like viewership, like, hey, this guy's doing well. Why don't we get him involved while he's on the bench? Give him something more to do.
What better advocate can you get for your challenger league, for your non-pro league, than a veteran professional who is actively not on a starting roster at the moment? Like, he's on the bench. The dude has all the free time in the world to care about promoting your farm system league, whatever whatever, however you want to twist it.
Because they're not promoting it at all.
None.
They're not even promoting their pro league, let alone their challenger league.
And that's the other thing, and that's where I feel Censor is I could understand if they're like, hey, bud, you're taking away viewers from the mainstream, so we can't have that. I could understand that. But they don't even have a mainstream for it. So what exactly is he, like, what's he taking away from? And furthermore, so get him on this, I'm just ripping now. All right, Call of Duty, if you're listening right now, use these ideas for free, okay? Just vote for us for the Esports Awards. Is if you want to have them stream it, and you're like, hey, we can't do this because of whatever, give them a league advertising package or whatever, and say, hey, you have to have this up on your stream while watching official league stuff, and it's just a rotator of all the league advertising. Like, hey, you can't show your own advertisers. Sorry, bud. You cannot make money from your advertisers while streaming league stuff. That's a legal thing. Sorry, you can't do it. But we can pay you something or whatever, right?
He's going to get subs off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, more than anything, right? People can donate to him. He can get subs. Like, he still has the ability to make some of that 100K back, you know, whether that's real number or not. Like, he has the ability to make money off of
There's
it
a way for
playing.
I think both sides to come out of this being happy. You know, I don't think the league is in a stance right now where they can just play the strong arm and say, no, you can't do it. But they're also the league, so they still could. They just wouldn't look good doing it, is the thing.
You know, it's unfortunate that the franchising model has only been done really by Activision so far, because they've kind of botched it in so many different ways, right? Like, I feel like if there was a more competent developer behind it, there would be a chance for this to succeed a little bit more. But like, the franchising model hasn't really panned out to what I thought it would be so far. I think it still can. I think it will ultimately, like, you know, it'll work out fine.
That's a whole nother topic for another day.
Yeah,
because
it's just like, these guys are just let it slip in so many areas, and we've talked about it throughout the show today, right? Of like, just what we're seeing.
We were huge supporters of franchising, huge.
Yeah,
me and you were so ready and big behind it. So maybe we'll save that for another day as far as where our heads are at with it now. Because yeah, I do have different opinions, I think.
Yeah, Blizzard is just they just dropped the ball in so many different ways. For Censor, it's unfortunate, but again, I understand where they're coming from. They need to find a middle ground. There needs to be a way to work it out rather than just stripping it from him. And so, yeah, I mean, gosh, it's been a tough show for negativity today. Unfortunately, I feel
it's really been a negative show, hasn't it?
It has. Like, I'm feeling very negative coming out of this, which sucks.
Something positive. Let's say, I am almost at end game content for my hunter in WoW.
I can't wait for you to get there.
I'm on the final quest. I'm gonna get the cloak, and then I could start running mythics with you boys.
If anyone's playing WoW, feel free to join us. We're running mythics, generally 10 pluses now. It's going well.
We're on the horde.
We're having fun there. I want to get some CS in maybe this weekend a little bit while we have no Valorant available to us.
Good. I like it.
That's kind of like the FPS, and then Drone's interview. I'm very excited for that to come out next week for you guys. So if y'all have stuff there, like, let us know, because we do have some fun stuff, some positives. I think we'll talk a lot of positive stuff about Valorant.
Normally Thursday is like the fun show. Normally Thursday is like the nothing happened, let's make shit up and just wing it type of show. But this was an angry show.
This was a little bit of a beatdown. A little bit of a beatdown.
A bad aura around.
We hate to spread some negativity, but look, we're excited for Valorant. I enjoy Call of Duty Pro League. They can both do a better job, and that's the ultimate thing to take away from this.
Yes,
is they're both good. They could be better, and that's what we want
because we care.
We do. We really do. Like, we really care, because shit, we're the ones that got to talk about it every week. You guys can turn it off. Go watch something else. Tim and I got to sit here and bear through the bullshit all week, because we need to be able to confidently and properly talk about it to you guys. And so this is why we wanted to succeed, to make it fun for us too. And so it's still good. Things are going to work out, I think, for both of them. Valorant, I probably have a little bit more faith with them ultimately being a very
Yeah.
successful esport. But right now,
I would love to
tough times.
get in touch
Tough
with the
times.
league. Maybe we can get the commissioner for CDL on the show and just talk. Right? I don't want to interrogate her. Just pick her brain a little bit. I've never heard an interview of her. You're right. She is very kind of behind.
Very quiet. I would like for her to kind of like step out because she's got the big league experience, man.
Right.
Like she is coming from a whole nother world, right? Like she's coming from where we want to be. So I'm curious as to like what steps they're maybe taking behind the scenes to help Call of Duty get there.
Yeah. And I will say too, because there was an argument on I saw on Twitter and Reddit about the censor thing about how, well, they don't even let the players stream other games when the league is on. Well, no shit. Like, I don't even know how to argue that point against you other than that. Like,
there is no argument to that.
They're not going to let the pros play and stream other games while their league is going on. Like, come on. You think they would let you think Tom Brady would be in a golf tournament in the middle of an NFL game while he's on contract? No. Not on a bye week, nothing. Like, give me a break. That's
only Tony Romo and the Cowboys would do that.
Obliviously too. So it's I don't know. The issue is I think both sides have very strong opinions, and I think both sides have validity in those opinions. There needs to be somewhere in between where they can hear each other out. And maybe the Centering Esports podcast is that place.
We could be the bridge, Tim.
We could be that bridge. But that's for another episode. I will say before we get into e-news, the Esports Awards have opened up nominations. So if you would like to, we would definitely appreciate it. You can go in and write in your open nominations for the categories. To be honest, I don't know where this happens every year. I don't know where we necessarily fall in. So if you want to just put us in for a couple of areas, I think that'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's open submissions right now. It feels weird that they're doing it in May for the 2020 calendar year, right? Like, this is not for 2019.
Esports Awards 2020
is for this year. Like, it's not for last year's work.
Yeah, you're right. That is odd.
It's just a little weird that it's already, but
when did we go last?
We've been the best since January. This was supposed to
be here.
What's up?
This was supposed to be here this year. I wonder if they're still doing it. Have they announced if it's going to be online? On their website, it still says Esports Stadium in Arlington. And you know what, Anuj? At this point, I'll fucking go. I'll go again to the Esports Awards, even though last year.
You say that. You say that.
Look, I went from
you might be going alone, even if that's the only event we have this year.
I went from covering sports and esports events. I was out of my house 7 days a week to this. It's getting to me now. So maybe it's getting to me enough to where I'll go to an esports awards where they give us cold roast beef sandwiches and stick us up in the corner like we're some stepchildren.
I know we're not journalists. It would be funny as hell to win that award.
Boy, wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah, please nominate us for Journalist of the Year.
If you enjoy our content, it'd be cool to get a nomination for something like that, win or not win, just to be recognized for. If you enjoy it enough and we get recognized for it, that would be a win in my book. So yeah, you can go. It's open registration. If you like it enough, give us a shout out.
Esports Content Series of the Year. Is that a fancy way of saying podcast? I don't know. We're a series and we're content. And then you have Esports Content Team of the Year. I need a description of what these are. So again, just fill us out for everything. And we would appreciate it. It would just be fun. We'll include you in our thank you speech. How about that? But we don't need trophies. We don't need trophies to know we're number one in Nooch. Not in here. We know it. All right, let's get into some e-news. We have quite a bit. Would you want to start us off with Counter-Strike?
Yeah, I might butcher how they pronounce the name, but Bimus is standing in for... Is that why you did that? That is why you did that, because you never let me lead.
100%.
So I figured. But Vimus is standing in for FaZe. He did dominate the EU circuit. He's only 16 years old. We're seeing like these fresh young kids come in. You know, Obo, Vimus. We saw Brokey step in, and now a full-time member of Fnatic. So you know, Vimus is going to be standing in for FaZe. I think he'll ultimately take that 5th slot, like long term. Again, only 16 years old, so congrats to him. 100 Thieves signed I'm a Pet as their coach, Chet Singh, for their CSGO team. Awesome signing. I'm glad he's staying in the CSGO realm, Tim, because he mentioned, you know, if he did not have a contract soon, he was getting offers for being a Valorant coach, and it's something that he was highly considering. And we don't want to lose, you know, talent like him in the CSGO scene. There are very few like elite level coaches out there. I truly believe he's one of them. So great for 100 Thieves. Great for him. I think that's definitely a win-win. The biggest topic, Tim, coming out of the CSGO scene that is driving everybody crazy, and in fact, it's probably topic worthy, Zipnix taking a back seat. He is benching himself indefinitely, currently slated to be out at least until the end of DreamHack Masters, reported by Double Tap there. They're in a tough spot, though, because they do not have an active 5th. They've been playing with their... People are like, oh, well, they have a 7-man roster. S-Tag's contract is not done till the end of June. So they have been practicing with Zonic. This puts them in a really tough spot. They've looked at outside free agents. Alex, you know, specifically from Vitality, they were not allowing that because they are in the same group for DreamHack Masters. So they turned them down. Lekro has recently been benched on NIP. They asked about him, and it was a ridiculous asking price for his buyout. So that option is out. So they're having to look at an option as a 5th. Don't know who they're going to sign at this point. As of right now, they have Zonic slated to play with them.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Almost makes you think that maybe something else is going on other than just breaks, because Glaive makes sense. He knew that they were going to have the backup, so he said, hey, I'm going to take a 3-month leave. Like, he has an end date on his. And, you know, appreciate it. That's why we're signing the more rosters. Zipnix was almost like, well, shit, I was going to ask for that time off, but Glaive beat me to it. I'm still going to take the time off.
Do you really think there's, like, turmoil on the team? Do you want to save this for a topic? Because I really think there's a lot here.
We'll save it. This is more e-news. We'll talk about it, maybe for Sunday or when they find their 5th, we can bring it up then. Yeah. It's definitely a talking point for sure. It's getting kicked around the Twitter sphere of if there's something more going on in the Astralis locker room than just people wanting to take a break. In other news here, we have, what's that first one?
Dardoch signs with Dignitas. He was the one that we just went over with the TSM drama. So Dardoch has officially been released by TSM and now signs with Dignitas. I think like Dignitas also released is it Honey? Anyways, he had like a $2.3 million contract. Something crazy. What? So like a long-term deal. He's restructuring his deal and moving to another team now. But Dardoch is over with Dignitas, and you know, that move had to happen. They left that in such a bad spot over the last week or two with all the drama that started that.
And I don't think it's a coincidence. We talk about it. So TSM obviously listens to the show. They heard our reasoning and said, you know what? They were right. They were like, it went. They heard the show, Tim, and they're like, oh shit, it went mainstream now. Yeah, everyone knows about this now. We tried to keep it underground, but TCR talked about it. It's out there, so we got to make moves. Also, Riot Games reveal a new in-game advertising. So this is now going to be placed for like banners on the map will be for in-game advertising. So like, I guess like a Mountain Dew logo will be on the banner, MasterCard logo will be on the banner. Yeah, MasterCard and Alienware some of the first deals signed. This is going to happen. This is going to blow up, and this is going to be in every game. Expect to be running down Dust 2 and seeing a big billboard at the end. Like, you are going to see a lot more of this in games. This has happened before. This has happened before just in video games in general. Me personally, I know some people are like, oh, this is stupid. I guess me just coming from the world of sports where you see advertising everywhere. Whatever. I think it's cool.
As long as it's not impeding within the visuals of the game, right?
Yeah.
You have placement done properly. Maybe it's like in starting areas only or whatever.
And the cool thing is with technology is unlike advertising in normal sports, where most of the time the players can also see it, this could be on a completely different client where it's only for the streamers, right?
Yeah, I'm even talking about from my standpoint, right? I don't want it to be impeding my visual appeal of the game and seeing a big MasterCard logo across the back of Dust 2, you know? Like, if it's done tastefully, I'm all for it, though. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, so anywhere that can help there. Also anywhere to help maybe with the advertising issue going on with Twitch right now. That's the hill I will die on, that esport. Maybe this is another topic. We're coming up with topics here at eNews. Does esports know how to advertise esports? Or just handle advertising in general? Because I feel like we have all this esports talk as $1 billion industry, and yet I see the same 4 advertisements during an ESL stream, or the same 2 Twitch advertisements for an Amazon show, which, oh, by the way, owns Twitch. So I don't, like, is that just, like, we do that all the time when I worked at the Ticket, is when there wasn't enough commercials, you had ticket commercials you could run. Well, guess what? You're not making money off your own advertising. So I don't really know what the Amazon commercials are. I think that's another topic, because I really do think esports does not know how to advertise properly. Go for it. No, I know you're super excited about this one, so I'll let you talk about it.
This is a big one, guys. Ninja will be hosting his own Ninja Battles tournament. It's going to be a Fortnite tournament with the top pro players and streamers. 400K tournament. I know Ben Fishy, I'm probably saying the wrong. He's another really big Fortnite player, is doing something very similar, but it's almost like the pro players or the content creators for Fortnite are the ones that are going to grow this esports scene, because it's not happening from Epic, but they are allowing them to kind of host these big one-off tournaments. So Ninja Battles is what's going to be taking place, and that'll be a 400K series. So something to look forward there if you're a Fortnite fan.
We've come full circle with Fortnite. Started with the Keemstar Fridays, then Epic killed it to do their own stuff, and now we're right back to streamers doing their own. So congratulations, Fortnite.
Oh, yeah.
Apex Legends might be a dead game, but they're still going to stay alive, damn it. Introduces the Apex Global Series Summer Circuit with a $500,000 prize pool and a spot in the playoffs. So.
They got money tied to this, though. You know, like, even I know their main event is like a huge prize pool. You know, although the player count is diminished and the popularity is, you know, basically the excitement is completely gone, they're going to keep the pro players interested with that kind of money on the line.
Yeah. And in other news here, we have Summit announced with others that they are officially signing with Twitch.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 big streamers came out and all announced that they were signing with Twitch. So Twitch is throwing some money around. Summit is one I really am happy that they're not losing, because I watch him so much. He's probably, you know, my favorite streamer just to casually watch. So I'm really happy he's staying at a place where I'm comfortable going. So congrats to those guys, and I want to know what kind of money he signed for.
Yeah,
I'm just so curious, dude.
Good to see him sticking around, though. Would have hated to have missed him and had gone to Mixer. BlizzCon, we already discussed, is being canceled, so there's rumor that they will do a online event or something like that. And last but not least here, Formula E driver Daniel Abt, so I'd say that, is suspended. He's actually no longer with Audi, his sponsored team there for the E Formula racing, which is like a step below Formula One and things like that. For those who don't know, it's not E racing. I know we like to use the letter E here in esports, but Formula E is an actual physical race car driver. He was kicked from his team, though, because he got caught cheating in an esports driving race. Does that make sense? A Formula E driver got busted for an E race.
Yeah, confusing, but it makes sense.
Right.
A real driver in a fake race got busted for allowing another racer to race for him, essentially.
Very weird story, but yeah, essentially he used a professional esports driver race for him, and he was on camera, much like the dude who dressed like a chick. This guy was on camera, but they had like the monitor covering just his face, right? So the issue, I think, where this all kind of crumbled is, A, dude, why are you hiding your face, right? And he got third place. Well, if you get top 3 in Ooge, you have to go to a post-race interview. And when your boy doesn't show up, it's like,
He wasn't even in the room when the race was taking place?
There's conflicting stories on that. Some people have said he was in the room. Some people say he wasn't in the room. Again, this seems very easy to rig, and people just... Like, people realize, like, cables go to other things, right? Like, if I wanted to put my HD camera on a different racing rig, and then you just watch me...
Like, you could just sit there like this the whole time.
Yeah, like, I don't...
And probably get away with it.
It's not that...
Stupid to cheat, even stupider to get caught.
If you're gonna cheat, please do it smartly, and yes, don't get caught. And
Yeah,
last
cheat responsibly.
but not least, an update for the International 10, which everyone always decided what they were going to call it, right? Because you had the International 19 and 2018, and it just kind of always worked out in its sense, but now you have 20 and it's 10 or whatever. Anyways, it is International 10, so that kills that story there. So they did open up the battle pass for it, so now you can go buy that, which goes to the prize pool. We asked the question, is it going to break the record this year? And I said, without a doubt, it's going to break it. Have you seen the number for where this is at so far?
I saw it a couple days ago, and it was hovering around 3.5 million, so I don't know where it is from there.
We are day 2. This opened up on Monday. Okay?
Okay, so day 3
All
now.
right, no. They announced it this is day 2. Do the math.
Okay.
Whatever, 2 days ago, right?
Yes, I saw it at 3.5 million when I last
All right.
looked.
So, last year's TI, the pool got up to 10.5 million, give or take. This year is already at just under 9.7.
Damn.
I mean, it is...
That'd be some happy pro players
It
this
is
year.
going to dwarf last year's. I don't know if that's because with the quarantine, people are bored. I have no idea. But yeah, it is going to demolish the record.
Well, Counter-Strike's at least got its $1 million road to Rio going on right now.
Oh yes,
so.
yep. And clarification is, last year's was at 10.5 million by day 4. So I guess in comparison, if you really wanted to compare apples to apples, this time last year it was at 8.8 million. So we're already a million higher than what we were this time for last one.
Well, let's see if it keeps going.
Yeah, the final pool was at like 34 million, but we're already a third there. So it's like, okay, it's
2 days in. That's crazy.
2 days in, we're already a third for what we were for last year. So people can make fun of Dota, but
Getting paid.
getting paid. Picked the wrong esport. Oh well. Thank you everyone for listening. Whether you skipped around or jumped all the way through, appreciate it. We will be back Sunday night to record Monday's show live. So if you're into that, check us out. Twitch.tv/thecenterring, also on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at @thecenterring. We will have Drone from TSM's Valorant team, newly signed, on the show with us. So hit us up with your questions by Saturday. We're pre-recording that interview Saturday afternoon. So if you have anything you'd like us to ask him, hit us up in Discord or Twitter or whatever, and we'll find it. What else we got? Astralis. Hopefully they can find a 5th so we can talk some Astralis drama, get some CS action up in this here. And yeah. I think that's
Astralis is going to be the story of the summer, dude.
Yeah, they're keeping
continuously
themselves
staying
interested.
in the news.
Keeping it interesting. Good old.
Sure.
If winning 3 majors wasn't enough, they have roster drama. Good dudes. Good dudes. Anyways, again, everyone, thank you so much for listening. It's been a blast. For Anuj, I'm Tim. We'll see ya. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let me save this. Oh my God. That was a long episode. I don't know if I'll have time to play some WoW.
I connected my Facebook to Blizzard. Might be a dumb idea, but I did it, and you can like shows you all the people that are on there. So I added some buddies that I haven't like I used to play hockey with back in like junior high, and they're both playing WoW.
Nice.
Yeah, random.
I wonder. Yeah, that would be interesting to see. I bet you a bunch of my old buddies play. Would be interesting to see.
And like this is not even counting the one friend that I was telling you about that I ran into after like 15 years.
Yeah. Nuts.
It's just insane.
All right, I'm going to kill the stream. Everyone in chat, thank you for stopping by. Whoever's here, love you. I'm going to go play some WoW, maybe, possibly. So
I'm gonna see what the wifey's doing, and then I will try to hop back on.